In the Riot International Invitational, we have got Game Faction versus DragonBorns on their second game. Game Faction losing that first game in a fairly hard-fought struggle, but it does look like both teams are going to be forming up for this jungle. I wonder if DragonBorns will be going for this first blood fishing, or if it does look like that swap up top will head in towards that blue.
Yeah, so we have both teams kind of fanning out once again. We saw this in the first game as well. There was no real aggression from either of the teams, and we do have Sushi just kind of chilling out in mid, and it will indeed be an AP Zac, which is pretty interesting. I mean, we haven't seen too much of it, honestly, in competitive play, but very interested to see how this turns out, and indeed what he'll max as well, because in the jungle, we've seen a lot of people maxing Elastic Slingshot, maybe with a Q as well. But in that mid lane, depends how aggressive he's going to be, because if he's going to get that damage down, then he's going to have to charge up that Elastic Slingshot. So, yeah, very interesting. It will be an interesting experience all round. But we do have, meanwhile, top Woolite alongside Alendix actually going for that swap up. And interesting to note, Woolite hasn't picked up an item yet. So, yeah, he's not recalling either.
I I can only assume that is an error. Uh, um, this does happen to the best of us. You heard it here first, but yeah, he's probably going to kick himself about that because when it comes to a lane swap up, it quite often comes down to who can push harder and faster. And if you can't push as hard and fast as you would like normally, that's going to cost you. In the long run, though, in fairness, it is actually more efficient, assuming you somehow manage to get equal farm and gold. But yeah, he's going to be weaker for no reason essentially, and that will cost him quite significantly. I wonder when he will notice, because we may hear something in chat when he does.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I mean, the other thing might be the fact that he's in that 2v1 lane, so they'll have the natural dominance anyway, and then he might be able to build towards maybe like a straight up BF sword because he'll have more gold on the first back. But yeah, it's less lane dominant, it's less everything. Interesting play. No one's really commented either, and he actually didn't go for the recall before they went for those Golans of a top lane as well. So we'll see how it turns out. But we do have Jankos saying, getting harassed down by Mover, getting highly aggressive. And yeah, I'm gonna have to say, this is one of the first times I've seen support getting very angry on the jungler.
Well, it's actually something I think I've seen Hyman as Colossi maybe doing once or twice, just getting that vision. And when you know that the enemy jungler is going to have a lot of difficulty dealing with you as a support, then, well, why not? Because there is no way that they can afford to tank you and the jungle creep. It will just wreck them, even if it's a level 1 Sona. I mean, yeah, level 1 Sona does quite a lot of damage, but even if it is just a level 1 support, that could be dangerous, though. We have got Shushei hanging around Jankos. Could get jumped on. Elastic Slingshot goes down. He's got the damaging Stretching Strike coming in as well. Jankos has been ignited. Jumps away. Gets the kill with the Venomous Bite. And with that reaction to being counter jungle, they're actually a bot as well. Much the same happens to Rumble. And that reaction there did not pay off.
Yeah, and DB just in a fantastic situation, got a double buff gob up at that top lane. That's not going to be fun times for Graves. I mean, he is going to be laning alongside Alendix, so it's going to be a 2 versus 1 lane, but for the process of pushing down the tower, it's not going to go well. I mean, with that double buff, she's going to keep herself sustained, able to clear those waves out, and generally just make it harder as well. And if she actually engages onto either Graves or Alendix is going to be very, very squishy. It might actually completely backfire for that 1 versus 2 lane, especially with the extra XP advantage. And meanwhile, bot lane, we actually did see that kill going down, and that actually transitioned into the turret going out. So all around, it's just, yeah, that lane swap is just basically turned on its head and completely backfired.
Yeah, well, what happened when Sona disrupted Sejuani was that it actually stopped her from getting there to prevent the push on that tower at bot. Because normally what you'll see is the jungle just coming in via that tri-brush there and just helping that 1v2 laner to wave clear. As it happened in this case, though, that just didn't happen. That couldn't happen. So really, really nicely set up there. Essentially, it was aggression, and it looked like it was almost wanton, but it was a very well calculated move, and Mover has really set his team up very well there. So we have got both teams now just kind of going back to farming Rumble, looking like he's going to try and push out this bottom lane. He needs to catch up on experience, he needs to catch up on gold. Actually, in top lane, we do have the bottom lanes have traded around. Nuva is level 2, and he's trying to trade here. Hosan doing a bit of damage down. We've got the smoke screen down, we've got the buckshot. The bubble gets dodged. The buckshot goes out, and Nuva is low. Has been ignited. We're coming in damage from ebb and flow. We're doing this. It's a very strange trade here. Muva is very low. Wulai is going to pick him up, hopefully, here with that buckshot. The barrier has gone down. The bubble goes down. Hosan is low. Hosan could get taken out by Elendix, but it actually looks like he's going to be turning this around. The E comes down, and it does look like this trade is just going to go for a 1-for-1. Jarvan coming in from the side, though.
Yeah, Virtual may be looking to follow up in this one as well, but we do actually have him noticed by Jankos. We'll just be kind of pushing him away before going for that aggression on Tsunami. But yeah, as you said, it was a very interesting trade. Like, both of them just started stepping back towards that DB turret because they weren't quite sure if they wanted to engage or completely back off. And when he wanted to disengage, Muva was just completely taken down by that buckshot coming in from Woolite, just standing at the edge of that bush, just maybe hoping that he could get some more damage out, or Woolite will expect him to juke sideways, but in fact he just stood at the edge of the bush and took one to the face. So that will be 3-for-1 right now for the hands of DragonBorns.
And that's very, very difficult to deal with. Dragonborns now are going to be... I mean, their goal difference is more than just 3 kills here. Is more than just 2 kills, sorry, because that's the difference. But they have that tower advantage. And I think they've also been out farming on the whole. You've got 13 on that Ezreal, 37 on Graves. You've got 49 on Shushei. You've got 36 on his opponent. You've got 4 on Nemi. 30 on that Elise as compared to 19. So yeah, it's just an all-around creep score advantage as well. So Dragonborn's coming out very, very strong here. And now Elise does look like she's actually just kind of freezing this lane at bottom lane, denying Rumble any safe place to farm and denying him any safe place to get that experience.
Yeah, so Graves did end up picking up the Vampiric Scepter alongside the Pickaxe, so he is going to be ahead in terms of item slot efficiency and gold efficiency as well. I mean, Doran's Blade is extremely efficient for the gold you put in, but it's not efficient because you can't upgrade it. What he will have is better transitions to the late game, but maybe for the lane phase, not going to quite pan out. We have got this trade coming out. Acroprison comes down from Elendix. In fact, Hosan already backing off, and Woolite just going to be quite happy just to pot up. Ignite down for Hosan. We'll move that, just putting down the hurt as well. And Pulse comes in.
Yeah, so Dese will be transitioning away from that very soon. But we don't know exactly what's coming in here, but presumably there's just something happening. No huge concerns, though. Best probably to continue talking about these builds here. We do have that Chalice of Harmony on Elise going into that Ruby Crystal. Probably going to be going to that Haunting Guise eventually. That will give her, you know, that spell penetration that works so well on Elise. That very high base damage on the percent ability skills. So, yeah. She's going to be looking pretty good, though. At the moment, her damage is going to be pretty lackluster. She'll be relying pretty much purely on the base damages. And anyone with decent magic resist will just kind of shrug it off. But as the spell pen builds up, so too will her damage. We do also have Sona with that Ruby Crystal running straight for the Sight Stone, ignoring Fellow Stone, or you know, Cage's lucky pick if she was very strange. And that will give her that earlier ward control, and it is probably effectively the most efficient gold item in the game, but at the same time it's not going to give her anything other than that health. Sona does like to get that mana regen. Could be a little bit difficult for her.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions in chat before we resume, then go ahead and ask them. We'll try our best to to answer them. And yeah, because right now we're just kind of at a lull in the action, but this is the second game between GF Gaming and Dragonborns, so the winner of this game will, well, I say the winner, the Dragonborns, if they pick up this game, will progress on to the next rounds of the series, and GF Gaming, they need to basically win this game if they want to have any chance of progressing onwards. So, in fact, we will just be restarting very, very quickly.
Yeah, and we are going to be jumping to live very quickly because of that bug that does occur in the spectator client. We do have now some serious problems for this game faction. Bot lane, which is top, they are under-leveled. Woolite soloing against Hosan, tanks that tower shot, but they've got the sustain. And if Muva could get that slow even, Hosan could probably follow that up with a kill. So, to be very, very careful. And you can actually see, rather than going for that usual style, we've actually got Hosan going back under the tower, flashes out, gets the Q, but Jankos is in the area, can now get that buckshot, body blocking the potential Mystic Shot, and that red buff combined with the sustained damage from Sejuani might be enough. Hosan, Arcane Shift in 2 seconds though. If he can get out of this, he'll be very, very close. He's so low. Flashes for the kill. That will be the kill, and in turn, going to be following this up onto Mover. Mover going a little bit low, but I don't think there's enough damage. Ultimate comes down though. Jankos wants this. That's because Ari is in from the side. This should be a kill here. We've got the Orb of Deception coming down. We've got the auto attacks coming in. The Charm picks up the kill, and now in bot lane, we've actually got Joki's getting dived. That's a 3-on-1 dive, and the tower gets aggro on a minion.
Yep. And we do have Graves.
What? But anyway, sorry, Woolite is in that bottom lane now, and trying to farm. Sorry, Pulse, what were you trying to say?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to stop speaking because you stopped for like 5 seconds. So, yeah, in that bot lane, we do have Woolite just returning into lane, pushing them back. Weren't quite able to pick up that turret, but Suchet laying down the hurt as well. Let's Bounce comes in as well, landing at least 2 charges of it, and the third as well. Auto attack comes in, but Woolite maybe picking up this kill. Splits into the Bloblet. Can Woolite take him out before he gets himself together? No pun intended. And Virtual actually comes in, not quite saving the life of Suchet, and not able to trade out either. If he picked up the double buff, that could be complete disastrous. Gob actually flashing up red as he tries to take out the Drake. Eventually does pick it up, and the burn does not take him down. So many people on very, very low health here, Spillington.
Yeah, it's getting very messy once again. Both DB and GF seem to play this very, very, like, kind of split up style. They don't often go for these team fights right now. They are, in fact, just going to be pushing in this top lane at the moment, DragonBorns. That is Hosan and Mover continuing. Last time they went a little bit aggressive with that dive, but now they have a big creep wave. They know Graves is committed to bot. Tidal Wave comes across, looking for that wave clear. We've got Ari in as well. We've got the damage coming down. Mover going low. Ari will pick this up any second now. And it does look like that kill will be going to Ari, donated very cleanly indeed. And Rumble is in this top lane. Jake is coming round. Hammy is very low. Does not get picked up by the Mystic Shot. We've actually got the Charm landing on Hosan in spite of the Arcane Shift. He's going to be going down any second now, and that is another kill.
Yeah, and it was a perfectly placed tidal wave actually leading into both of those kills, and then we just had the turnaround coming in with Rumble as well, just closing up that gap. And that will be 2 kills to GF Gaming, actually giving them some more breathing room, because they've not been in a great position so far in this game in general. Picking up a turret down top lane, upper top lane I should say, but we do have the Glacial Prison coming down onto Sushi and Virtual. Woolite now coming in as well, 2 versus 2, but Jankos basically trying to get out of here. Arctic Assault comes down, looking for the flag and drag. Flash comes down maybe to secure that kill, but doesn't actually need it. Woolite looking to get out here now as well. His assistance was maybe not entirely necessary. Collateral damage comes in along with the buckshot, but we do have the dunk coming in with that Cataclysm picking up another kill, and that's 2 for 2 for the 2 for 2 trade up at top, or 2 for 0 I should say.
Yeah, and we are continuing to see some aggression right now in this bottom lane. Elise continuing to pressure Rumble up to the tower, and that's causing him a lot of issues. Rumble, pretty bad tower farmer, and also very bad at stopping the enemy from pushing the tower whilst farming. So, causing him a lot of difficulties, and Hosan is in this top lane, just going to be farming that out pretty cleanly. I'm curious now, who do you feel is going to be stronger in these team fights, Ari or Zach?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, we kind of have to look at like the entire team fight to really get a good grasp, because, you know, obviously if Ari and Zach are not in that team fight, then something's going to, you know, the result of the team fight is going to be completely different. But Zach is offering a lot. He's going more of a tanky route at the moment, just picking up the Spirit Visage, just the way of the way the blobs work. He gets a lot more health back. Ari is also doing a lot of damage as well. It's difficult to say. Along with all the AoE from both teams, it's going to be a very messy team fight when it does happen. All the ultimates going to layer on top of each other. Mid turret currently being sieged, and it looks like the engagement does happen as well. Flag and drag comes down, but Rumble coming into the side will quell that aggression coming in from Virtual. Doesn't want to get into a 3 versus 4 situation. Woolite also coming down from the bot lane as well, but it looks like GF Gaming going to have to get something done, because meanwhile top, we have Ezreal picking up this top turret.
Yeah, he's going to pick that up more or less for free, and I wonder if GF are going to try and make a fight happen now. They probably know that DB thought Ari was going top, but they don't know where the wards are, and now the DB are going to just stall this out as long as they can. Explosive Spiderling going in for that back line of creeps, going to be slowing down the push, and Hosan, are they really going to dive this? No, they are not going to dive that. GF has to react to Hosan, who's going to take another decent chunk out of this tower. We've got Woolite coming in, but he has to be a little bit careful not to get destroyed here. He doesn't have the damage, I think, Hosan. He did use his ultimate, but Woolite now playing with fire. He's going to have to run very, very soon, and we have got the tidal wave coming in. A flash from Hosan. He's getting in very close. The collateral damage comes down. The barrier comes down. The bubble lands, and that's going to keep him alive, but not quite. The E can target even though he didn't have vision. I'm a little bit surprised. But Elendix following this up with that E of her own, doing the auto attacks, getting the kill, and that isn't really going to create too much of a positional advantage for DB in the end.
Yeah, the homing missile actually came up from Arcane Shift, picked up that kill, and even though the vision was cut, which was interesting, but we do have that blue buff actually falling down for DB, and that will actually be going on to Virtual. Had to smite that, just making sure that Jankos didn't pick it up as well. And we do have things coming up onto top lane from both teams, and we do have Jankos as well just around that area. Gob looking to get aggressive, but we have Virtual over the wall. Ward will reveal him, and also revealing Jokis and Jankos. That's a tongue twister if I've ever seen one, and we do have Ari just around the corner as well. In fact, nothing going to come of it.
Red Jankies, yellow Jonkies, or Jonk. Can't even say it once, let alone many times in a row. But we have got the push coming in from DragonBorns on this bottom lane. Gob, we've got Virtual, we've got Shushei hanging around looking for this aggression here. Shushei, he I think has the damage right now to potentially, if he can get a little bit of time alone with Woolite, who actually smells a rat there and picks out Shushei, he actually could potentially bring him down. But in turn, he is quite squishy, ironically, and will get taken down by Graves very quickly as well. But the push is coming in from DragonBorns on this mid lane. We've got the aggression from Sejuani. Not going to be able to take it out, but Rumble coming in from the side. Equalizer is available, I think. There we go. So, not being used, putting down the damage on Hosan. But at the moment, it still feels like Game Faction are very leery of actually starting this fight.
Yeah, meanwhile, down the bot lane, though, we have Suto just trading blows with Woolite. And looks like Woolite is kind of winning out because he has more sustain than him. Susie's not quite able to get ahead. But meanwhile, we have the engagement coming down. Equalizer comes out. Just the entire GF team being completely decimated. Equalizer not doing enough damage to clear up the rest of that team. Virtual ticking down with the Ignite as well will drop in a heartbeat. And Lendix also last, I want to say last man standing, but I guess last fish standing. We do have Woolite just coming around into mid. Sushi popping over the wall with the elastic slingshot. And doesn't quite connect it, just connect the Q, however, and looks like they might look to siege down this turret. Gob actually trading blows with Woolite as well. Venomous Bite comes in, Repel coming out as well. Let's Bounce finishes that one off. And now Elendix not quite able to really get too much done. And we do have the elastic slingshot coming in, leading from that flash, picking up the double kill. And this middle turret definitely going to go down. Have to be careful though not to overcommit because Drake is alive. And we have 3 members of DragonBorns quite low.
Yeah, DragonBorns are going to go straight for that. It does look like it, yeah. We've got the Spiderlings, which will be able to tank pretty well for Gob, assuming that Gob can avoid being aggroed by the dragon. But it does look at the moment like it's working out pretty well. In fact, Pulse, I just want to say, the other day, I can't remember which team actually ran it, but there was a team that ran Elise and about level 15 with the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. She tanked Baron, while a Caitlyn and I think it was I can't remember exactly what it was, but there were 2 people DPSing over the wall from Baron while Elise tanked the entire thing. And they did this really early on in the game, which kind of shows just how strong the Spiderlings are at tanking the neutral creeps for you, because you can refresh them every time you respawn and they can tank 2 or 3 hits. So it's a really strong setup. But we have got Hosan going to be taking this blue buff, actually. I guess Shushei doesn't need it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of principle with Zyra as well, because a little while back, you know, when we saw a lot of Zyra mids, a lot of Zyra supports, they were just able to plant the seeds ahead of time, pop them all at once, and they were able to tank basically a lot of hits from Drake or Baron, along with Yorick as well. He could do the same sort of thing, but Elise is a lot more easy to control and also more sustained as well, because you can get those spiderlings every time you pop into human form, cast a couple spells, pop down into spider form again, and you're good to go. And it's just kind of the strength of Elise. Like, her kit is so strong right now, like even in any lane. She's extremely versatile. She can go mid, top, jungle, And also the fact that she can tank Baron or Dragon very early on into the game is just another part of her skill set which is really, really strong in these team compositions. So we take a look at the next sort of team fights, Puddington. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
You have to say that Game Faction have a really strong team fighting team, but it just doesn't seem to have been working out for them. Yeah, I think they're having some problems with being split up. We've got the crescendo coming in, the ultimate flag and drag coming in, tidal wave goes across, we've got the equalizer down, damage coming down, we've got one going down from each team now, we've got Ari, has popped the ultimate, is going to be putting down some damage on Shushay, but Shushay will restore himself pretty quickly. Does look like there may be a disengage here. We have got Ari now backing out. And in answer to your question, I'm predicting that that fight was in fact won by DragonBorns. They have come out with a little bit more health. Shushay may look to jump over the wall. Hosan certainly does. Goes for Jokies. Wasn't able to actually get the damage, but Shushay follows it up. And now they picked up 2 kills there over the wall. Very nicely played indeed.
Yeah, very nice retrospective production there, Spuddington. So we do have the middle tower going down to DragonBorns, and we actually had a message coming in from Fly as well, from the team of Mals, who are actually the team who took it over the wall with Caitlyn and Carpus. And that makes a lot of sense, because, well, we have an engage coming out from Sushi, holding that fort for a second, as we have the last exchange shot coming down. Jankos looking to keep himself alive. Tidal Wave doesn't quite come out, but... yeah, that was Tidal Wave. The animation completely cancelled. Last exchange shot over the wall from Zac. And middle turret going down, and there's no one to defend it. Doesn't look like they're quite going to go for the inhibitor. Don't want to quite overcommit. And yeah, it looks like DragonBorns in a very good position, maybe to contest Baron if they go for basically like a desperation rush, or if they just want to re-engage at that inhibitor once again.
Yeah, and it feels like once again Game Faction are getting a little bit just outplayed. Honestly, most of these fights are just clutch plays coming out from the Dragonborn players and good positioning, good team fights. Whereas you can play Game Faction and they're just not quite able, even in like a straight up fight, they just don't seem to be quite able to win, even if it's an even fight indeed, as I mentioned. But we do still have some decent hope for Game Faction. They still have a lot of damage, still have a lot of potential AoE for them, but it's not looking great for them.
Yeah, and it feels like this is just another copy of that last game we saw at Spuddington, where they were just pushed in and it looked like they could win those team fights. They had the type of composition that could for sure come back into the team fights. Like they had the Orianna, they had the Malphite, but in this game they also have a lot of damage. They coming out from Ari, from Graves, not doing too badly himself, 142 farm right now. Ari 4-2-2, and already picked up the Phoenix Codex alongside the Neasly Large Rod. They can definitely go for these team fights, and the Equalizer as well. But it's just not quite panning out. You can say all you want about team fights and Theorycraft as much as you want, but it's all down to the execution. And they're never quite in the right position to get all the ultimates down right where they want them. And it always seems to be DragonBorns being basically starting off these team fights and coming out ahead because of it.
Indeed, and now we are seeing the push coming in from Game Faction in this mid lane, but the counter push probably being Elise and Shushay in these top and bottom lanes respectively. We do see Gob now double warding that brush. That's a sidestone and a normal ward though, so must have been 2 people at some point in the past. Not entirely sure who did what, but we have got Jankos jumping over the wall, not going to be going for anything particular, but in all this time, they are unable to really respond. Shushay is going top, and he is going to be pushing quite quickly. He clears waves very fast. That being said, his damage from towers won't be particularly spectacular. He's mostly got Spell Pen and Tank, so he's actually jumping behind the tower. Dolby Gas taking a lot of damage. We've got the ultimate in from Hosan, and now they're just going to take that tower, unable to respond. Yet again, Game Faction are just getting pushed around at the moment, and right now Elise could be going for Woolite in the bottom lane. Neurotoxin goes down, Q goes down, Woolite has again ignited. That is another dunk.
Yeah, they really wanted that Graves dead, with the Cataclysm coming in as well to secure that kill. And they're just being pushed in all over the map. Woolite has already fallen, damage came onto that top turret already falling. 6 towers to 1 right now for DragonBorns in such a dominating position. Another tower goes down at that bot lane as well. 7 towers for 1. And they just need a team fight. They need to gather someone together and just get in a more dominant position. And as they get closer to the base, it's going to be easier because they'll be able to react more easily to the aggressions coming out from DragonBorns. But at the same time, they have that inhibitor exposed. So if Dragonborns want to, they can just group up, go for that middle inhibitor fight, and all GF can do is either concede it or fight it on equal terms. And I'm not entirely sure they can go for an equal terms fight right now, Spuddington.
Indeed, you just have to wonder, how can Game Faction fight these fights in a way that will bring them out on equal terms? What can they actually do? What are the mechanics they can utilize to keep themselves in the fight, to prevent Dragonborns from just rolling over them if another 5-on-5 happens?
Yeah, so right now Baron is looking like an interesting point of contention right now. We have GF looking to be aggressive, at least in that top part of the jungle. They don't have an Oracle themselves, so they're not quite able to clear out... In fact, they do have an Oracle on the Lendix, but didn't quite... Oh, it's worn out anyway, so scrap that. I was just going to say that they weren't able to clear out all the wards, but it just expired. They are looking to be aggressive in that jungle and place down more wards from themselves, and if they choose to go for that Baron, they're going to have more ability to have possession over that jungle, and it's going to make it very difficult for GF to really come back into it, and with Mover just pushing this one down. So we do have the last 16 clock being charged up, moving on to a Lendix. Flash comes out as well, Let's Bounce comes in, and Gob also moving on to Unstoppable. Warlight being chunked down by Suche. Equalizer goes down in a very nice position, but we have the Crescendo coming out, Warlight dropping low, Cataclysm comes down once again, double kill coming in for Hosan, not quite able to move on to Jankos, but the middle inhibs are going down. GG, well played, called up by Rumble and Swerzjani, and this looks like the end of the game here, Spuddington.
It does indeed. I wouldn't be surprised to see them push straight on here. Ari might be able to pull kind of hero mode defense, but be very, very difficult. Spiderling's tanking once again. The tower is going lower and lower as time goes by. Gob going to be picking that up. There we go. A little bit of damage on that tower. A little bit more, a little bit more. The rest of the team from GF are respawning though, and Hosan is the only one sticking around, so it does look like this game isn't quite done yet. Could be another team fighting this, but you have to say, it's not going to take much for DB to just push this home. And in fact, Hosan is still there. He really wants this tower. It actually looks to me like Game Faction have just given up, and they're just going to let Hosan win at this point. He's just, we're like just standing there. He's going to, hey, I'm just standing here. I'm a Graves. How are you? How's things? How's life? And it does look like they're going to just let this Nexus fall. So a little bit. We've got the jump in there from Jarvan, but it's not going to happen. And there we go. GG, well played. There was actually earlier on a surrender vote that went 3-0 for GF, which was a little bit strange, but who knows? It does seem like the game is